The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 345. We are streaming live on YouTube to over 150 countries worldwide and streaming live on Twitter/X to like tens of people, tens of people, maybe single digit people over there, but it's okay. We're going to try it out there. If you are here in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you would like to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-4678. And go check out our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. They've got all the great gear you want, probably the best battle belts in the world. They've got med kits. They've got all sorts of good stuff over there. Go check out wildertactical.com and tell them Ghost sent you. If you are a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in that darkness, and you're looking for some light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I could probably be someone that could, walk you through some stuff. More importantly, I could be an ear to listen. If you are looking to get towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. Veterans, press the number 1. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network and the Firearms Radio Network. Go check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and firearmsradio.net. Let's get this off of my ugly mug and say hello to the merry band of morons for this week. We've got, Kyle, I don't know, that was an interesting look. From Anderson Manufacturing, we've got the guru himself. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, man?
Hey, Trey. What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me on, man.
Always. Oh, gee, I should have put y'all next to each other. Jeez, Louise, this is. Why did I do this? I wasn't thinking straight when I put you guys next to each other. That's scary.
You're a glutton for punishment, man.
I am. I mean, just letting John in here is bad enough, Yeah. Yeah. How's everything going over at Anderson?
It's going great, man. My red legs are up to nothing. Bottom of the 6th. So everything is going great. Now, good summer, man. We're actually in the heat bubble out here in Kentucky right now.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of going to be everywhere for the next week or two, I think,
Yeah. Whatever heat bubble is, I'm no meteorologist here, but apparently it's sitting over the Great Lakes and just kind of like spreading over everybody.
That sounds pretty meteorological to me. So, maybe you did stay at Holiday Inn Express or something,
I did stay in a few Holiday Inn Expresses in my day. So
in your day. That's right. Abigail throwing it out there. She's throwing the gauntlet down. M16A1. Going to A1 stocks are the best stocks. You can fit a big bag of tropical Skittles in the stock hole. There you go.
That's facts.
I know it can hold quite a few gummy bear packages, so I don't know about the tropical Skittles, but she wants to know, is Anderson making the rifle length drop and quad rails? Eventually, you guys going to do a full length rifle and quad rail?
We quad rail? We do have them.
There you
the
go.
Drop-ins, yeah, they're on our site.
There you go. Go check out. And if you're over there, if you want to save some money, use code GHOST or code Chris from the 740, all one word. I think, Chris, is it not all one word? Yeah. We don't make any money off of it, but we're there to help you guys out and save a few dollars and get some great stuff over AndersonManufacturing.com.
You could also use code CloverTac.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting Clover has one. I'm sorry, Clove.
Or code FLR.
Oh, Ginger has one. He gave one to Ginger?
He is a card-carrying member.
He's a card-carrying member of something.
So what Kyle is saying is
anyone. It's not an elite group anymore.
He says what Kyle's saying is you need to go over there and order 4 different things and use
that's true.
4 different checkouts with 4 different codes.
That's exactly right. What I was saying, Clover. Thank you.
Yeah. I was just trying to say this is no longer an elite club that I thought that Chris and I were a part of, but apparently not. Let Ginger in, so good Lord.
Kyle's too nice.
He is too nice.
Start calling him Oprah.
Wrong head.
Y'all are idiots. Speaking of idiots. Oh, hey. Okay. There we go. Special teams, special players. All right. Standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. Such a fine sight to see. It's a Ginger, my Lord, and a flatbed Ford. From the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews, we have John, the Ginger Soulless Bastard. What's up, homie?
What's up, brother?
There are still people that have no idea what we're talking about. They think we're just weird. Kyle's one of them, I think.
You don't understand this, Kyle, but you do it. It's all right. We'll forgive you.
I just play around. I just play along.
So I don't know if it was TikTok. I saw it on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but it was Ole Miss Lane Kiffin is kind of where it all started. And someone walked into his office and said, "What's up, brother?" And he was like, "What's up, brother? Special teams, special players. Well, Tuesday." It's a weird thing. Anyways, what's up?
Not much. Just planning goals, getting all the vendors locked in and finishing that up. Cutoff date for vendors is July 10th. Cutoff day for media is July 18th. So if you haven't put in for your media, get in and do that now. Everybody got their media things sent out. So if you've already applied, you should be getting it. Yeah.
There you go.
Anderson Manufacturing will be there in a large booth. They got a 20 by 30 booth. It's going to be a big Anderson booth this year.
Kyle and I were talking about that. I don't know, was that yesterday, today? I think it was today. I don't know. I think it was today, wasn't it?
It was today. And John, I got to let you know, this is historic for Anderson. That is the biggest booth space we've ever had.
So going to be, it being that big, is there going to be live fire in the booth?
I think we could arrange for that, right, John?
Or at least live dancing.
Oh,
live dancing. That's a given. Live fire only if Clover's there.
Hey, we can call them the pony poles and have dancers.
The pony pole.
Wow.
Well, I was going to say you could schedule a guest appearance from Brickell in the booth, and you would get some live fire for sure.
That's not the kind of live fire he's looking for. He doesn't like that liability problem.
Wow.
I don't want that smoke.
Is he going to be passing out, plate carriers to everyone around?
I mean,
John could put a medical company next to it.
They're going to need one, and hopefully there's not a pickup company next to it either.
You're not far from Premier Body Armor, so.
Hey, I like Premier Body Armor.
Just kit everybody in the booth up. You're good.
Just kit everybody up and just make sure there's no pickups around. And if there are, stay away from the pickup.
Oh.
Anyways, wow. That got off really strange. Okay, John, it's been an interesting week in the PA world. About 98% of it has been phenomenal. You want to catch everybody up on what's going on in the last week?
So,
living under a rock.
So SCOTUS ruled that bump stocks are not a machine gun, which is fantastic. Certain organizations got fact checked when they said that
they did.
We're proud of it. But yeah, SCOTUS said it was not deemed a machine gun, so all the bump stocks are back on the table now. Now, that being said, we just had our enemy, friend, whatever you want to call him, Chuck Schumer, decide that they want to go after a full semi-auto ban and bump stock ban and he brought it up to the Senate today.
Senate, yeah.
And they we'll see what happens. We just need a couple of our senators to say nay, and it goes away. So make sure you're calling your elected officials to let them know that you do not want the bump stock rebanned, and you do not want this attack on our Second Amendment.
Did you guys see Chuck Schumer grilling those raw patties with cheese on them?
I saw that.
Dude, he just likes his cheese really crispy. Come on. Nothing
and
wrong
his
with that.
Meat really rare.
Yeah, the bottom side's nice and well done. The top's just mush
it's like raw
with crispy cheese.
What was
crispy cheese.
Did you notice that the dogs, what was really weird, the dogs had the grill marks on them,
I didn't notice that. No,
but
'cause I
the
was looking at
burgers were
first one, what
completely
the hell?
raw.
Yeah.
So who cooks their dogs before they cook the burgers? Because it takes longer to cook the burgers.
Maybe the kids wanted the hot dogs and he was trying to make the kids. I don't know.
I don't either.
Let's just be honest. There's a good chance he didn't do any of that. You know.
Oh, he
100%.
absolutely did, and that was staged. Kind of like what's her name drinking the beer in her kitchen or whatever.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have a beer. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you are.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and then we just filed suit in New Jersey. I don't know exactly on what, but the suit has been filed. So as soon as I have more information on that, I will let you know.
Okay. Do we want to talk a little bit about the district court last week as well?
Oh, I was filming podcasts all week. I must have missed the district court.
The pistola braces.
The pistol race?
Yes. No, sorry. It was a long week. I was in Myrtle
Ladies
Beach.
and gentlemen, this is our GOA representative.
Yes.
We were just talking about how I was being rude to you Friday morning because you were sleeping on the job about the pistola brace.
Listen, it was a long week. I flew out to Myrtle Beach, did the podcast. I was calling people about the pistol brace thing. And then I also had another thing going on, and I had an old Jamaican lady who followed me all around DFW. It was a long story.
What does the Jamaican thing have anything to do with you not knowing what the hell's going on?
It frazzled me. Okay. It's been a long week.
Okay.
Okay, well, I can touch on the senator out of Ohio who is asking YouTube on why they changed their policy and asking them to come to that. So that's happening now too. That was announced today.
I can promise you that YouTube is not going to listen to some senator from Ohio of all places. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they didn't listen to a big long list of people. They're not going to listen to one.
They're not listening to Clover. They sure as hell ain't going to listen to a U.S. senator. Let's just be honest about it.
This is true.
It's fact.
Do all gingers get frazzled around Jamaican ladies?
Yes,
No.
yes, we do.
I thought so.
Well, they have no souls, and the Jamaican
have
ladies
no
are into
souls.
voodoo, and so that's all part of the Jamaican lady can't get a soul that he ain't got, right? So instead of stealing the soul, it frazzles him. A normal person, she would just steal his soul and be done with it, but Ginger has no soul, right?
Have you ever tried to explain to somebody who's never flown through DFW how to get from gate to gate at DFW? And how confusing it you sound trying to explain to them.
You're
how to
talking to a person that grew up going to DFW. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, look for a number.
No, because you got to get on the train to go to the different gates.
But it's A, B, C, or D. Like the terminals are like lettered. It's really not that difficult.
Trust me, it's not that difficult. But I tried to explain it to her, and I had to walk her to her gate because she couldn't figure it out.
You weren't singing it to her in reggae style. Say, man. Jack goes over there, man. Gets on the train and goes to Delta Terminal. Say, man. All right, anyways. Fuck, that was bad. That was bad.
But yes, we did get the pistol brace thing, too. I forgot.
Thanks for that commentary. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Good Lord.
That was breaking news, man.
That was breaking. Was he? So for y'all that don't know, we have a pretty big group chat that several of us are in, and we're always giving each other shit. Everyone on this panel is on, and it's called the NSA chat because we know we're being listened to, and it's bad. But the pistol brace ruling comes down from the district court at 8 o'clock Central Time, whatever it was. Like 2.5 hours later, in the group text, we get a text from Ginger, and he's like, hey, did you guys hear about the pistol brace? And I said, that was so 2 hours ago. And like everyone just started piling in on the fact that Ginger had just woken up and was 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We're like, this is our GOA guy. This is our two-way person. And, thank God nothing really actually came down that's important because Ginger would be sleeping at the helm. And then, of course, we had to throw in, like, is he on Clover time and all this? It was bad. It was bad. And he's all, once again, the common theme with Ginger, a lot of excuses. I don't care the fact that you live in Arizona. If the rest of the world is up 2 hours before you, then you wake up with the rest of the world. I'm just saying.
He had to get his beauty rest, Ghost.
It didn't work, homie. It didn't work. You notice he has his lights turned off. That's to hide, what
yeah, it is to hide what it is because I didn't get home until midnight on Thursday night.
So let me ask you a question. Do gingers, can you see yourselves in mirrors? Is that a thing? No. Okay. No. I didn't think so. Clover, I think you have to have a soul, right? To see yourself in the mirror?
Correct.
That's what I thought, yeah.
What I hear.
Also, you guys are complaining about heat bubble. It was 114 this week, so I don't.
That's not a heat bubble for you guys. That's like Tuesday.
It's actually cool right now. It's only 101.
We call it the heat bubble, and it gets up to 90.
It's 101. He's throwing a little light jacket on in Arizona right now. All right. From the weirdest state in the union, the only state that has 4 letters but takes 2 people to spell it out. From the 740, we have Christopher. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks, I don't know. How about you? Yeah, and always. Abby says, yeah, we're not vampires. What's going on in the 740 world?
It's been a good day.
Good.
Got a call from the local gun store. I went and picked up my Jackal, so I'm pretty excited to start playing around with it.
There you go.
And Christian got home from MEPS about 2 hours ago. And
how'd that go?
It went just the way he wanted it. He got his hall technician job that he wanted. And
so is in the contract?
Yeah, we got one more thing we're waiting. We got to push through just some medical thing. And this recruiter said he thinks it's going to be fine. But yeah, so he's all excited. He's been up there in Cleveland for a couple days. So
Cleveland.
I'm sorry.
What branch did he decide on, Chris?
He went Navy.
Oh, nice.
Better than the Air Force.
I'll be nice about it, Ghost. I seen you look.
No, I'd say it's better than the Air Force.
It is better than the Air Force, yeah. It is.
There's some good tech skills can be picked up in the Navy.
Oh yeah. All jokes aside, hell yeah.
No, all jokes aside, if I'd go back and do it again, no, I still wouldn't go Air Force. But I would recommend Air Force to a lot of people. Navy would be the second that I'd recommend.
If they got that dog in them, Marine Corps.
Yeah. Let's just, no offense to, it's not Christian, but this generation, there ain't too many dogs out there right now. Not saying there's not any, but there's not that many. At least the ones that I've been around.
It appears to me in a way, just from a lot of the stories I've heard, just from friends that I've got, including you, that the Marine Corps is one of them things where you go in, you may not know it at the time, but you go in needing the Marine Corps more than the Marine Corps needs you.
Oh, 100%. That was me. 100%.
Yeah,
where the other branches are not necessarily that way.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
there's something you need, and if there's something you need, you know what I mean, like whether that's structure or attitude or whatever.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I could have gotten the structure. I could have gotten out. I could have gotten what I needed out of the military by any of the branches. Because for me, it was just getting me out of a lifestyle that was detrimental to my living. That said, what I needed and what I did, my origin story is, and people that know me know that I'm a little competitive, just a little bit competitive in my life. But my whole thing was, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going the hardest way. And it wasn't the best. I mean, in my eyes, I didn't know much about who was the best and who was not the best or whatever. But I knew that the Marine Corps was the hardest. Everyone told me that. And so that was my thing, was what I needed out of the Marine Corps was a challenge. And hell yeah, I got that challenge. But that's what I got out of, at least the boot camp side of it, was I needed to challenge myself and prove to myself that I could do something that is not easy to do. So that's what I got out of it. But yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of kids that are around here that are going to join the military or think about joining the military. And I always tell them, it's like, look, go Air Force, go Navy. If you really want to see what you're made out of a person, yeah, go Marine Corps. But a lot of these kids today, they're not necessarily looking for that challenge. They're not necessarily looking for that esprit de corps, that brotherhood, that fighting for something bigger. Let's just be honest. A lot of these kids don't have a sense of something bigger. They don't have that sense of pride for the flag. They don't have that sense of patriotism. They don't have the ability, or at least they haven't shown the ability yet, to care about anything other than themselves. And that's generality. I'm not speaking specifically for everybody, but the general makeup of this next generation is that, unfortunately. And this is not in a bad thing, but I think that those kind of people, like Chris, he was going to the Navy for a specific reason. He had a specific job that he's looking for. That's awesome. A lot of these kids just go to the recruiter saying, I really don't know what I want to do, but I know it's not here. I want to do something. But I want to not really have to worry about getting in a shit show overseas. I want to be comfortable in an office and an air conditioner and all that. Go Air Force. Fantastic. I'll give the Air Force and the Navy shit forever. But ultimately, they raised their right hand. They took the same oath I did. So I have mad respect for any of that. If you're looking for something different, there's branches for that as well. But no, I'm really happy for him, Chris. I know that he'll do well. I know he's already got like several certifications that is probably going to give him a leg up in schooling and all that. Probably help him get promoted. Have they talked to him about that yet? About the certifications he already possesses that could give him a leg up going in?
Yeah, they said his welding certificates are definitely going to play a role in this. So
good.
Yeah, so
that's good.
I mean, from what they were saying today, that his title will be hall technician, but he's going to be doing a lot of welding on land and stuff, with working on bridges and things. So I don't know.
Cool, that's awesome. He'll enjoy it.
He's excited.
Absolutely. When is do they know when he's going to be leaving yet, or not yet?
Well, that's kind of the thing. Selfish reasons, I didn't want him to go for a while because I wanted to take him to a few more shows, but I think he's going fall from what it sounds like. So he'll definitely be going to GunCon. Goals will be up in the air now for him if he'll be able to go or not. But
yeah. Okay. Well,
we'll see.
Obviously, we wish him the best, and if he needs anything, let me know. I do have a very good friend of mine who was a 28-year senior master chief, which is an E9, basically as high as you can go in the Navy. Got out, I don't know, 15 years ago, whatever. But if he needs anything, I've got a contact, so.
I appreciate that.
My father-in-law is a master chief as well.
There you go. So there's plenty of people that can help if he needs it. And that's what it's all about is the brotherhood, and it is the network, and it sounds bad, but it is sometimes who you know. That has something to do with it. It's just reality of it. Anyways, tell him good luck for us, and we're proud of him, and tell him thank you for taking the oath. From the great state of Texas, the keeper of all that is Texas pride and any other pride, since it is Pride Month, the tactical Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clover?
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I've celebrated the pistol brace thing by ordering.
You're not a big pistol brace guy to
No.
begin with.
No, but I celebrated by buying my very first pistol brace, and it came today. So,
yeah.
Yay.
Which one'd you get, if you don't mind me asking?
Factory brace for the X-Star.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Is it one of the blade ones, or is it?
Yeah, it's a blade style.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Mark says, "What did I miss? Someone get the military #2 pencil treatment." If you've never been through that, it's brutal. Yeah, I can make someone cry without touching them in about 3 minutes, and using #2 pencil. It is the real deal. It'll make you hurt in ways that you didn't realize that you could hurt for having no weight at all. I think they use a piece of paper now, but back in our day, it was definitely a #2 pencil that you had to keep your arm completely straight, and it had to be above your nose with your back. You're squatting down with your back 100% against the wall, your heels against the wall, your knees at a 90-degree angle, and you're holding this pencil. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of that, you'll start questioning life. I'm just saying, you'll start questioning. Do you have to go through that, Kyle?
I did. We used ink sticks, which
okay. For those of you, it's pins.
The moonbeams and all
the moonbeams, the shower shoes, the portholes,
the scuttlebutt.
The scuttlebutt. Yes.
The gee dunk.
The gee dunk. Wow, good pull there. Good pull. Yeah. So Chloe, what's going on? You guys, you've been putting out some little bit of content lately.
Gotta find the mute button, but yeah. I put out it ain't doing real well because it's archery on a gun channel, but I actually put out an archery video yesterday.
I must have missed that when I was talking about the one you had with the
you and everybody else apparently, but I get it.
I didn't get it. I might have it. I don't remember seeing a notification.
It'll get search traffic over the years. It'd be good, but yeah, nobody that regularly watched seems to have cared, which is fine.
I watched it, Cliff.
Well, but you watch everything. You're too nice.
I'm gonna be getting into the bow game soon. I have a crossbow. I just have to assemble it.
That's cheating. That ain't a bow.
Wow.
It has the word bow in it, so
don't say it's a bow game, and you're talking about a crossbow. That don't count.
Look at him being all. I mean, he's a
crossbow
bow snob.
game.
I consider myself
bow snob.
Yeah,
I consider myself a little medieval, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Get you over one.
I'll stand with you, Kyle. I got a crossbow.
If I ever get a bow, it's going to be a crossbow. I tell you what, Ron, our buddy over at Riker, he's the last 3 or 4 years got really into bow. He's trying to get me. He's trying to get me to. He wants to send me one of his original ones to get started on that. I'm like,
do it, goes.
For me. And hell no.
Do it.
I'd rather get into skeet.
Imagine clearing rooms with a bow, dude.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
That'd be intense.
Talking about it's just
probably want to recurve for that, or at least like an Oneida or something.
I don't even know what the hell that means.
I know.
So if you ever watched the bow that Felicity got on the second Gabe Oliver on the second season of Arrow, that's the most famous probably Oneida bow, and that's an Oneida Kestrel. But it is essentially a recurve, but it's got cams like a recurve that are on the inside or on either end of the riser, so just before the limbs. So it's kind of like a hybrid. So it's quick like a recurve because you don't have all the cams and all the things you got to worry with. You just throw it on there and pull it back and go. But yet it's got the added power of having those cams like a recurve. So really cool bows. They're expensive.
Literally every word you just said, I don't understand.
Yeah, there's probably one person out there in the chat that knows what I'm talking about.
Like Mark says, he said a recurve is like Rambo's bow.
Kind of.
Depends
on the Ram. It depends on the Rambo, but yeah, because he used a variety.
Clover, I understand what you're saying.
No, you don't.
I was a Bowtech back in the day.
Bowtech, that's a brand.
We used to work on. Yes, I know it's a brand, but when I worked at the sporting goods store, I worked on bows for people.
Were you a Bowtech?
I had a guy. Technically, it's a technician.
I stumped him.
Okay. No, it's a bow technician.
Okay.
That was my official title. So.
You worked at where? Some big sporting goods store?
Yeah, I worked at 2 different big sporting goods store.
Jim Bob Sports.
Yeah. Bob's
big
Sports
store.
And Outdoors. Yeah.
Big store. Yeah. Big store.
They probably sold Cincinnati chili in a can out the back door too or something.
And souls.
Trey.
And souls. Oh, Gary says he was Mr. Bo Jangles.
Well played.
Well done, sir.
Well done.
You've seen it in a long time. Fred Bear fellas.
Yeah,
come on,
Bear.
man.
Fred Bear. I've got a Fred Bear. Back this within arm's length of me. It's my dad's old bow.
Oh, is it the brand?
Very first, Bear.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Very first recurve.
I thought it was like there was a different bow for bears or something. I didn't know.
No, very first compound bow that Bear ever made. I have one.
Oh, okay, cool. Real quick, Kyle Marcus says, "Hey, this question's for Kyle. A few weeks ago, I picked up a Frontline 16 upper for my son, and we all love it. My question is, can you guys make the 14.5 with a pin and wheel flash hider?"
That's a good question and something I've brought up to the engineers on multiple accounts. I'm gonna say we don't now, but I'm hoping that we're gonna start doing that in the future. Awesome. That is a huge problem we ran into is people buying those uppers and throwing them on a stock lower, and so I had to put the disclaimer up top in bold, like not pin and welded. But yeah,
pretty easy to do. Marcus don't got a drill press and a soldering iron.
I'll tell you, I don't, but he might. Yeah.
$100 and Harbor Freight, man. You can pin and weld a flash hider. That ain't no big deal.
There you go. You guys know that every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday we have our pony polls over on our YouTube community tab. We have a little fun with it. Let's get rocking on this week's polls. The first one's got 1,000 votes. Came out yesterday. Of the two, what's the better 80s Western? Silverado or Young Guns? We'll start with Ginger on this. Silverado or Young Guns? So back in the 80s, John, there were a bunch of Western movies. Silverado was, I'm not saying it was his first, it was the first movie that I remember ever seeing Kevin Costner in. And he was a supporting role, but he kind of stole the show. And Young Guns was a movie about Billy the Kid and all of that. So little background for you. 80s nostalgia.
I watched Young Guns a week ago with my wife because she's never seen it. And Young Guns is one of my favorite Westerns, 80s Westerns. Yeah. And I explained to her, I was like, yeah, this is just part 1 of 3.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's 3 Young Guns. And that had such an all-star cast too. It was
you're talking about Kiefer Sutherland. You're talking about Charlie Sheen. You're talking about
Emilio Estevez.
Emilio Estevez was as Billy the Kid. So you had both brothers actually playing brothers in the movie, which is kind of interesting. In case you guys didn't know, Emilio Estevez is Charlie Sheen's brother. So Charlie Sheen took the Sheen last name of Martin Sheen, but Martin Sheen's actual real last name is Estevez. In case you guys didn't know that. And then Lou Diamond Phillips was in it. One of the greatest scenes ever is when they were doing peyote out in the desert. It's just one of the funniest 5 minutes. great. It was great. That's a good movie. So you haven't answered the question yet. You said you saw Young Guns last week, but is that your favorite? You think that's better than Silverado? Okay.
Yeah, no, I love Young Guns. I had to stop. I've been trying to watch it for weeks. It's on Amazon Prime, but you can't download it. I wanted to watch it on the plane, but so I had to watch it at home with her, and she's just like, "What is this?" And then the peyote scene came on, and she's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "He's chasing a giant chicken. What don't you understand?"
Did you see the size of that chicken? Marcus, what about Tombstone? Tombstone was 1994. Why do I know that? Because it came out while I was in boot camp. So it's a 90s. It's a 90s Western. And I would say that might be the best 90s Western. Just throwing it out there. There were several of the Wyatt Earp adaptations. There was a lot of, what was the one with Tom Selleck? There was a bunch of great Westerns in the 80s and 90s, but I went with Silverado and Young Guns. For me, Silverado, I remember going to that movie with my dad, and I came home, and on the way home, I'm going to date myself also, as I had my dad stop at Toys R Us, and he bought me a little cap gun revolver and holster set, and I sat there and I learned to twirl the gun and put it in the holster and draw and all that. So Silverado kind of got me into that. It's kind of cool. Kyle, Silverado or Young Guns?
Full transparency here, I have not seen either of them.
Okay. All right.
But my vote's with Emilio and Charlie Sheen.
Oh,
I did not know they were bros. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're both Martin Sheen's kids. Like I said, they're same mom and everything. They just, Emilio went with the real last name, and Charlie used his dad's screen name of Sheen. So, nice. Yeah, they're brothers. Unforgiven was also in the 90s, Marcus. So you're 0 for 2, buddy. But both great. Unforgiven might be outside of like the 60s Westerns, like with old Clint and all. Man, Unforgiven is really a damn good movie. That's a great Western. That's a Western that holds up for any time. Put it that way. It's a really good one. Clove, Silverado or Young Guns?
Regulators. We regulate him stealing his property. We're damn good too, but you can't just be the geek off the tree. Got to be handy and stiff. You know what I mean? Earn your keep.
That's right. That's right. Pale Rider was 80s. That's right. Carlos Estevez. There you go. That's Charlie Sheen's real name is Carlos Estevez. There you go.
Yeah, Emilio
can't for Googling that.
All you got to do is put them side by side. Poor Emilio.
Oh, yeah.
Like he can't get away
Absolutely. From it. Well, and the funny thing is like Charlie Sheen looks like
Martin the older Sheen. Charlie gets, the more he looks like his dad.
Yeah.
The older he
gets.
But Emilio looks like
sounds just like his dad. Like he sounds just like Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
So, thoughts on the Quick and the Dead? I mean, once again, I love Quick and the Dead. There's some great ones out there. Chris, Silverado, Young Guns.
Yeah, I'm going Young Guns.
Am I the only one that's going Silverado?
Yep.
Well, that's about what the poll ended up to. At 70% said Young Guns. So
you got a sentimental angle. I think the rest of us, if you look at one-liners and all the other stuff, like Young Guns is quotable.
There is he.
I mean,
great one-liners.
Young Guns. You've got the scene where he's in the house. He calls out somebody's name. He goes, "Charlie, are you out there?" Oh, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And then he's got the scene in the bar where he talks to the guy and takes all his bullets. I mean, it's just so many iconic.
I'm not saying that Young Guns isn't great, and I think Clover is right. I think that my love for Silverado is more sentimental, just like my favorite all-time Western of all time, and it's really not a great Western, but it was one that I watched a lot with my dad and my grandpa, was Rio Bravo, and it was one of John Wayne's with Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin. And it was an okay Western back in the day, but that's my favorite all-time Western. I think it's because I just sentimental reasons, it is what it is.
And Young Guns 2, very quotable as well, but not nearly as good of a movie.
I'll put it to you this way. I remember when it came out, And I'll say this, as far as sequels go, it was a pretty good sequel. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was most of the time when you have such an iconic first film, the second one always disappoints. Young Guns 2 did not disappoint as much as it could have, and it was actually a pretty good movie.
It wasn't as good, but I would agree. I mean, it did all right. Because I mean, there's so many quote best $1.80 I ever spent. You know, so many good quotes off of that. It's just
that regulator quote you said, Clove. That's in a Warren G and Nate Dogg song.
It is.
That's from the movie. Yeah, that's
when he first got onto the ranch or whatever, and Charlie Sheen's character come out and was explaining that's their job. They're the regulators. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so Charlie, ironically, you need to go watch it first of all. But
yeah, I do.
So Charlie Sheen was the eldest of these group of misfits that were basically adopted and were taught how to eat and speak and act civilized, and in return they protected his ranch. And they were the regulators. If you don't try to come steal their cattle, they met the regulators. And
but that is a cool track though, Kyle.
Yeah.
And also one of my favorite lines in rap ever. 16 in the clip, 1 in the hole. Nate Dogg is about to make some bodies turn cold.
Yeah.
Now they're dropping. What is that? What is it? Now they're dropping in shagging. It's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It was a cold, dark night.
Such a good song.
Who would have thought that?
And did you know that Warren G is Dr. Dre's cousin?
Yeah.
I did not.
So you're learning all sorts of like 80s and 90s like nostalgic shit, Kyle.
Hey, Nate Dogg's a Marine, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Yeah, interesting.
So Shaggy. I
knew Shaggy was. And Shaggy actually, you know how he got his voice?
Drill instructor?
He was not a drill instructor, but he was trying to emulate his drill instructor, and that's what came out. And like, man, that sounds kind of cool.
Damn, I got a good voice.
And Shaggy was born, basically. Yeah, that's right.
Also,
go ahead.
Also, Captain Kangaroo was a Marine. I learned that today.
Yeah,
you guys didn't know that.
Did you also know who was a Marine and was dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps? Walt Disney. Walt Disney was dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps. If you ever look at a picture of him in his office, he's got his dishonorable discharge hanging on the wall, upside down.
Pretty much a fuck you right there.
Pretty much a fuck you. I think he turned out okay. I think he was okay. He ended up all right. Let's see. G-Web's is spitting out IMDb shit out there. So, 70% say Young Guns. Our next one. All right, we had such a good showing last week, and people brought it up to our attention. We went ahead and with the round 2 of the iconic TV/movie vehicles. This week, we bring you, which one do you choose? The A-Team van, Kit from Knight Rider, or Scooby-Doo's Mystery Machine? Kyle, which one?
I'm going with the A-Team van, even though the Knight Rider that's tough. But A-Team all the way.
Not a bad choice. Not a wrong choice in any of these. Clover, A-Team van, Kit, or Mystery Machine?
You know, I'm surprised you threw the Mystery Machine in there. I go Mystery Machine.
Mystery Machine's kind of iconic. I know that it's not a real vehicle, but there is a real one here in my hometown.
Yeah, I've seen one too, and the one I seen, what was really awesome about it is you roll the passenger side window up, and there's a image of Scooby-Doo on the passenger side window.
That's awesome.
So if the window's up, it looks like Scooby-Doo's riding.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Chris, which one do you choose? A-Team van, Kit, or the Mystery Machine?
Yeah, the A-Team van was just badass.
Yeah. Ginger, back in the 80s, there were a lot of iconic vehicles. A-Team was a TV show with Mr. T's. I pity the fool. Kit from Knight Rider. Kit was a talking, what was that? Was it a Trans Am or Camaro or whatever it was? I think it was a Trans Am.
Trans Am.
And then the Mystery Machine was the Firebird?
I think it was just Firebird.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was.
And then the Mystery Machine was the Scooby-Doo Gang's van. So I don't know if you're familiar with any of those or not.
I'm familiar with all of them, but I pity the fool who does not pick.
You pity the fool
who does not pick the 18 van. Just so iconic.
Oh, BA.
Mark Villalon. I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry, Mark. So I would suggest the helicopter from Airwolf. Well, who wouldn't?
All right,
that's pretty solid. If I went, I might have to do helicopters. If you got the one from Airwolf, you've got TCs from Magnum PI. That's a pretty sweet helo.
Got the hello from MASH. You
got the MASH. Hell yeah, you got.
It was iconic. I don't know which one that was, but
I'm pretty sure it was a Huey, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was a Huey.
It was the one at the very first.
Oh, you're talking the little bubble one.
It was like a.
It looked like a bubble. Yeah, I can't remember what those
like a little
called.
bell, some type of little bell.
Yeah,
helicopter or something.
Yeah. Blue Thunder. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while. Ginger, who did you say? You said 18. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said 18.
Okay. Well, 49%, 1.5 thousand votes. 49% say Kit. 33% say 18, and 18% say Mystery Machine. I was actually kind of surprised. I love Kit. I love Kit's smartass. Yes, it's Mr. Finney from Boy Meets World. I get it. But Kit was awesome. I'm surprised, though, the 18 van didn't win.
Did you say Finney?
Feeney. Mispronounce it.
It's Mr. Feeney.
It's just a slip. It's okay. Now, what if you could trade the voice out for Topanga? Just saying.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'd change my vote to Kit.
Yeah. Only if we could get that software upgrade. I would change.
Or what was her name from oh my God. There was a show with Fred Savage. Winnie.
Oh, Winnie. Oh, yeah.
Winnie.
Winnie. Yeah. Wonder Years.
Wonder Years. That's what it was. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Will you stand up and walk out on me? All right. And our third one. Which one? I did this to break the internet because both of the fanboy clubs, I was wanting to see which one showed up. Why wasn't Christine on the list? Ooh, I forgot about Christine. That might be in the next one. Well, we'll keep doing it. Riptide, the Screaming Mini. Let's see here. So I wanted to see which fan club really showed up. So which one? Glock 17 or CZ75? Clove, we'll start with you. Glock 17, CZ75.
Man, CZ75.
I know, right?
Yeah, CZ75.
Really?
Hammer fire, baby.
Hammer fire.
Hammer time.
All right. Christopher, Glock 17 or CZ75?
Glock 17.
There we go. Ginger?
I guess I'm going to have to go with Glock 17 since I own that and I don't own a CZ.
You ever shot a CZ75 or a clone?
Yes.
I'm sure you shot.
No, I have. I've shot the CZ75. It's fantastic. Okay. They're both good guns.
Yeah. Obviously. If they're showing up on the pony polls, they're obviously great guns, right? Kyle, 17 or the 75?
75 me.
75, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Did you ever get one, Kyle? I know you were looking at one time.
No, I did not. But
I found my 85 that we were talking about, by the way.
I didn't know you had lost it.
I lose shit.
Didn't you just get that a few years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been several years ago. Yeah, it's been pre-cough, I'm pretty sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you got that. Yep. 2,000, over 2,000 votes. 67% are correct that say the Glock 17. 2/3 say the Glock 17, which surprised me. I figured the Glock 17 would win on this channel. But I did not think it would be a 2-to-1. I did not think it'd be that big of a. I thought it'd be 55-45, somewhere in there. We have never guessed 2/3, 1/3. So, yeah, there you have it, guys. Those are our pony polls. We're going to get this off of my second. I got a new desk. My wife got me a new desk for Father's Day. And so I've rearranged, got both my monitors up here now, and my gaming desk, and it's awesome. We put it together, and it's fantastic, but I'm still getting used to different things. So let me get rid of that. So go check out AndersonManufacturing.com. And while you're over there, well, hell, let's just go through them. You can use code GHOST, code CloverTac, code Christmas740, or, well, you could use one that says, is it FLR? Is that what it is? FLR? So, and we don't make any money off this. This is not to benefit us. It's there to save you guys some money on some great products over at Anderson. So go check them out and tell Kyle Ghost or Ginger or Chris or Clover sent you. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, before we get into the conversation, can I ask you guys a gun tuber question?
Sure.
So have you guys seen what's going on with like Focus Trip? And I don't want to bring manufacturers into this, but
sure.
And then Grand Thumb leaving Leviathan Group and all that.
No. So that doesn't surprise me. And this is not. So Chris is a friend. I've known him since I basically started YouTube that 7 years ago now. And Chris is now kind of running a lot of the gun tuber stuff over at Leviathan. Leviathan's going to help a lot of people out. The problem with Leviathan is Leviathan charges a shit ton of money. And I think a lot of the companies are starting to look at that, whether is it really worth it. I can tell you from my own experiences with talking with them is back during the cough, I had the opportunity to join Leviathan if I wanted to, and send over the contract. And let's just say this: a lot of things in the contract, at least my personal contract, I can't speak for any other people's contract, asked me to do things that I did not want to do. Maybe give up contacts and things that I'd worked hard to do. So I wasn't willing to do that. Secondly, people like Grand Thumb and all these guys don't need Leviathan. Let's just be honest. He doesn't need them.
Yeah.
He can go and pretty much get market value of what his market value, which is a lot. I'm talking 6 figures for a video.
For what he gives up to Leviathan, he could hire somebody.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit for him.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's and you experience this too. The other thing with Leviathan that I've seen just with, I mean, there's multiple creators in that stable that I know, and I've seen their contracts and everything, and there's not a single contract with Leviathan that's the same.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so I don't know what Grand Thumb's issue is, but for me that would be problematic. Like it would seem to me that Leviathan would need to be fair and do standardized contracts, but
I think a lot of it comes down to, I think companies are not as willing to spend that kind of money every month.
Oh, it's detrimental for a small company. Like, there's no way.
You have to be you've got to be a big company to avoid. I mean, seriously, to afford the kind of money they talk about every month. That said, people like Grand Thumb, and you've got people that are at that level that don't need them anymore. Let's just be honest; they're giving up money being with Leviathan at that point. John,
yes.
You're friends with a lot of those guys like we are. Have you heard anything different than what we probably are hearing or what we expect has happened?
You are not mistaken. I've had contracts sent over from friends of who I've worked with in the past who said I had to go through Leviathan. and then there was either no response or there was a lot of money taken off of their back end.
Oh yeah, a lot of money.
So I love Chris. I'm gonna phrase this with this. Chris Woods is a good dude. I like
great
Chris.
Great
guy. The issue with Leviathan is that they have what appears to be a large stable, but they're only utilizing 3 of the 100 people they have. And they'll tell you, hey, we've got all these people, and then try to push you to the top 3 and get the most money. Because it's not a dumb business move on their part because they're making the most money off of those. And I know some creators were looking at like 6 figures for a video. A lot, a multiple, and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to out them, but there's a lot of them who were charging 6 figures for a video, and then you go talk to them directly, and it was not that much, or it wasn't even close to that. So I will say that I was privy to a phone call. I'm not going to say with who. While I was at Forge last week, I did hear the same voice opinions that everybody else has said about them. It's sad to see how they took their model and just blew it up, and it's not a viable business model in all, to be honest, because you're not going to be paying for it as much. But I will say that it is what it is. While I also have the mic for a second, I want to say, speaking of Forge, congratulations to Ben Stacy for his first child being born yesterday.
Oh, congrats.
So congrats, brother.
Awesome.
Congrats.
So I just want to shout out Ben because Ben's good people, and we all know Ben. He's so shout out to Ben and their team, and they also do management, and I heard their pricing. It's very, very, very fair for those creators who are looking to move to another place. I'll give Ben a shout out for that because their pricing and their off the top is very, very fair. So
there you go. I mean, let's just be honest. That's the way of the world. Marketing firms, whatever you want to call them, advertising firms, they are needed in a lot of ways. And does it help the companies that are hiring these agencies? Yes. Does it help the creators? Yes. It is a win-win. But I think what happened with Leviathan is I think Leviathan got bigger quicker than maybe they intended, and maybe try to reach too far. And I hope that they haven't overreached. I don't know. Time will tell. But I suspect that we're going to see others probably leave.
There's been turnover in the company. That's sort of how Chris got to where he was.
That's right.
Too.
Yeah.
And when you start getting turnover as far as in a company, that starts making you wonder if there's not business management issues going on as well. And that
well, there has to be, right?
It's 100% a chaotic model. Can you imagine trying to deal with multiple creators that, I mean, even if there are all gun tubers, they all do multiple things, and they all have egos. They all, if you're not funneling the proper companies to the proper channels based on the demographics and all of this other stuff, it's just, there's so many moving parts and pieces to it.
Yep.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's so many moving parts and pieces, but also, like, think of it this way: if you're the size of a grand thumb and stuff like that, you could pay somebody to be a business manager for the same amount that you're getting cut off the top.
Less than what you're paying.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, if you're in the Leviathan stable, they'll use you on their list of people for shows to go do booth appearances, and you'll get nothing or next to nothing. Well, these two guys, I'm pointing at Ghost and Clover, have done it very well and managed it themselves. So it's the same thing. It's, if you can manage it yourself, it's more worth your time and money than going over to Affirmed.
You got to be the type person that enjoys their relationships to be able to do that. And here's the thing: my wife and I was actually.
I'm too much of a control freak. Let's be honest.
There's that too. There's that too. And for me, that's the reason I don't get editors and other stuff. I'll dabble in that occasionally, but ultimately I got to turn around and do it myself because there's policy issues that unless you're doing this, it's kind of hard to understand how to skip over those mud puddles or whatever. But was talking with my wife just in the last couple of days actually, and one thing that I explained to her, because I play around in a lot of niches as a creator, not just the gun-tuber space, and I see it here and I see it everywhere else. That you have these people that are just socially weird, and we see them at shows. Not calling anybody out, but we see them at shows. And Kyle, you can nod because I know Kyle deals with them in the booth. He knows what I'm talking about, and so there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just their attitude. I don't know, it's not like a bad thing, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like their mannerisms and their attitude. It's like they're cool as long as they're making a video in front of the camera and all this, but then trying to talk to people and they're bad at trying to forge relationships and being able to have a just an off the cuff conversation and all that kind of stuff. And those people, those are the type creators that need some third party to try to handle that shit for them. If you're pretty good at talking with people, it's not, and especially if you enjoy that, right? And I think everybody here does. Everybody on this panel, enjoys that relationship aspect of everything, and so it's not a problem for us.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kyle. Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't want to change the topic of the night because I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to learning a lot, but I guess this is a kind of a compound question. Like things like that happen. Does that kind of change the climate for gun tubers? And this is just curiosity. I'm not really trying to get at anything, but like to see a guy like Grand Thumb kind of climb up there and then be like, oh, well, I'm leaving this group. And everybody's like, holy crap.
So Grand Thumb didn't climb while he was at Leviathan. Grand was one of the first ones that Leviathan went after because they needed a big name. Okay.
Gotcha.
He was already well established. Now, and this is not a knock, because I have some very good friends that are over there and have been over at Leviathan. I'm not calling them like an evil empire. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that for me personally, it wasn't a good move. That said, a lot of the people that go over there, let's just be honest and let's call a spade a spade. Leviathan is incredibly good at creating growth for channels.
Right.
They'll grow very fast.
Number wise.
And we can have the discussion offline of how that happens. Yeah. But they're very good at it. So that's very appealing and very attracting to channels that want to grow.
The problem is
whether it is well, there's different strategies that they employ to get that growth. The problem with that is at some point you have all of these channels that have grown that aren't ready for that size, right? They're not ready for the responsibility of being what was considered a pretty big channel. That said, people like Grand Thumb, people like Eric and like Tim, not saying they're part of Leviathan, but these were the guys that were already established, right? You look at John Lovell over at Warrior Poet Society. They went after him hard. And what does he do? He goes and does his own thing, right? So he didn't need it. But Grand Thumb was one. I'm not saying he was the first, but I know he was one of the first they really went after because they needed someone like that to give Leviathan credibility, right? Now Leviathan is giving credibility to a lot of creators that are smaller looking to grow. Unfortunately, like Clover has brought up, and John and everyone else that kind of knows some of the inner workings of the establishment over there, is it's not a level playing field. It is not. The rich do keep getting richer over there.
Well, it's also not a long-term strategy for growth. I can think of two. I can think of two, and again, we're not going to mention any names because there's no sense in outing folks. But I can mention two channels that everybody on this panel is really good friends with and knows that I've had conversations literally in the last couple of weeks since in RAM anyway that are with Leviathan that have expressed, and they're huge compared to us. They're 10, 20 times the size of our channels, subs and all this, but their views, they're whining at me and hey, what am I doing wrong here? I need to, I don't understand why my views aren't up and in this, that, and the other, but yet they have the subscribers. So Leviathan can offer numbers that look good as far as Leviathan trying to sell packages to companies, but is it actual growth? Right? And that's part of the issue too, I think, that Leviathan is running into.
And I'm not going to say this is Leviathan. I'm going to say in generalities, a lot of these agencies, okay, what they do is they work with 50 different companies or 25 different companies, and all those companies have, let's say, 500, employees and all that. And so they'll say, hey, they'll send an email out to all the companies they work with, and they'll say, hey, let's welcome a new member to the stable, CloverTac. And hey, I need for everyone at the company to do me a favor and go subscribe to them. We're trying to, help them out a little bit.
Also, shout out,
he's got 100,000 subscribers overnight. Sometimes
shout out, do a collab, blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the problem.
That's how it works. And they send these massive, what do you call them, newsletters out to hundreds of thousands of people. But let's say it's a 1 million person newsletter. Well, if you get 10% to do something, you just got 100,000 new subs.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not saying it's how Leviathan. I'm just saying, let's just be honest. That's how it works in YouTube land, no matter what niche you're in.
Well, and that's Abigail brought the civilian CivTac kid. He's not with Leviathan. I talked to him personally. He's not with Leviathan, and RTT brings up a good point, and he's not wrong. But the Leviathan is very good at bringing a creator in, and when they leave them up on their page, because it shows that they have a huge stable of people.
That's
and right. That's what they're good at. The other thing I will say,
I know a bunch that are not with him anymore.
Absolutely. Haven't been for him for a while.
A while, that's still on there. Yeah.
If it's on their website, it doesn't mean anything. They could have been long gone a while ago. It's one of those things where, like, the one guy I was talking to that I heard the conversation, he has sent a cease and desist letter because they refused to remove him from the website. So that's a thing that happens with Leviathan. The other thing is, and I'll say this for Kyle's sake and just in general, what Leviathan's good at is, if you're a new marketing director and you don't have the connections, kind of like when Kyle started off, that's your way to get in with the big guys if you didn't know
100%. Absolutely.
And what really you got to do is just go up and just network and talk to people. And I think people like to take the easy way out, and we see that a lot with the Leviathan stuff, but it goes with any marketing firm. Any of these guys can get a hold of them. You just got to know who to work with and how to do it.
I think from the industry side of things, having the Leviathans of the world, there's others out there, obviously at Forge. There's many of these agencies that are out there that are good, that have stables of horses themselves. But having that and say, hey, we're if you're able to afford, let's just say a number of $10,000 a month, right? Let's just throw that number out there. If you're able to afford 10 grand a month and X amount of products, and it's not just going to be one, it's going to be several of the same product, all that stuff. If a company is willing and able to do that, obviously they're going to get exposure because they're talking about some of the biggest names in YouTube in the gun niche. You're going to get exposure. It can't hurt. Is the return on investment there? I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know how many rifles someone's going to have to sell or handguns someone's going to have to sell to make up for 10 grand a month. I don't know. It very well could work out for them. That's the industry side of it. From the creator side of it, it is very attractive for a channel that knows that they're going to double, triple, 10 times what their count is within the first couple weeks. That's very attractive. Some people, and I'm not saying a company, I'm not saying any creators, I'm not saying, but let's just be honest. Some creators are willing to sell their souls to the devil to become big. If I'm Leviathan and I have a chance to get some of these new up and coming, they've targeted channels that they think, hey, these could be good channels come up and coming, and we're able to get them on the front end and mold them how we want to. Why wouldn't they? On the flip side, if you're the creator and you just want to grow and you want to be famous, which we know that there's a lot of them out there, why wouldn't they go? For me, the contract that was presented to me was not just a no, but a hell no.
It was bad.
It was bad. And I told Chris, the worst
one I've ever seen.
Talk. Yeah, it's bad. And I told Chris, I called Chris. He said, look, here it is. And I said, hey, I get it. I appreciate the thought. I appreciate you coming with me. This is not something that I want to do. This is not something that where I want to be. And that's it. Now, do Chris and I still talk? Not as much. We still talk. The occasional texts and all that. No hard feelings.
In-ram with him for a while.
Absolutely. No hard feelings. But that wasn't me. There are a lot of people that will do whatever it takes to grow. It is what it is.
I mean, it's the same with companies. I mean,
Sure.
there's a, what was it, 2 years ago? I'm not going to say the name of the company, but there's a target company.
Now, Rob Reed, he says it's hard to become famous by selling your soul. It's much easier to be a sellout after you become famous. Yes, Rob is the poster boy of being a sell. He is not selling his soul. He is a sellout. This is
he's definitely a dude that will not call you back. I can promise you that. Shots
depends
fired,
on who
Rob.
you are.
Shots fired. Just saying.
He'll call or text back. It might take a couple.
When
weeks.
I put out the next scathing PD10 video, he'll call me. I can assure you.
It might take him a couple weeks. Hell, we don't even know what time zone he's in. I don't think he knows what.
I might have to drop the PD10 as a piece of junk video on Friday. He'll call me then.
Hey, can you do me a quick fit? Pull up Matt's comment real quick. RTT.
Right here.
Yes.
Okay.
So Matt said he wishes
Ginger and I had this argument on our porch in Indianapolis a couple years ago.
We did have this argument. So he wished gun companies who gun tubers are affiliated with would push those tubers channels a bit more from a business aspect. Helping a channel exposure will ultimately help sales. Yes and no. Yes, I do agree that companies will do that, but also they are sending you product in exchange for you to push their product. And by you doing that, they are already invested in you to push that product out. So, yeah, it would be nice if they would all do that, but now they're already using their channels to push you, which they're already pushing their product through. Mm-hmm. And so it's just this weird circle. Like, it makes sense in a lot of people's brains, but also at the same time, like, if I'm investing $500 in product with you, I'm hoping to get $500 worth of or $1,000 worth of sales out of it. But if I'm putting you on, so I'm putting you on my email list. So let's just say I have 100,000 emails. That's costing me about $4,000 to send. Then they go watch your video and then they click on your affiliate link. So now I'm spending $4,000 plus the 5 to 10% that I'm paying you, plus the product I gave you to get the money back. I'm losing my percentage by having them come through your links. Mm-hmm. So yeah, from a business perspective, it just makes more sense to just let you roll and hope that the sales will come in.
Yeah. Matt says that 95% of companies he's affiliate with won't send out product. Well, you're not having the right conversations with the right people.
Yep. Something's up.
Your pitch is wrong. There's something wrong. You're at the size that
stop seeking companies that don't or something. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can have that conversation.
That's a private. Yeah. definitely.
You can come in the after chat if you want, and we can send you a link, and Chris can send you the link if Chris, if you want to do that, tell him when the show's over. He's more than happy to jump in the after chat, and we can maybe, we've got industry people here, we've got all sorts of stuff that maybe help you out, because that's an interesting comment.
I'm helping Matt out now too, and we'll get you solved, Matt. Trust me, I've got your back, brother.
Yeah,
but let's just be honest,
over on
Matt.
Another page and send him the link.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest, Matt. This is not mean to be harsh, but people that know me, I'm pretty direct. I'm pretty blunt. I'm pretty much, you're going to know where you stand. It's you. You're doing something wrong. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that you're doing it badly. I'm just saying there's something in your process that's not right, and we can help you with that. I'm not saying we're all have the answers, but we've got enough experience between all of us. Hell, Kyle could even sit there and say what he looks for when a creator's wanting to work with Anderson. What does he look for in that? So there's something going on that, by all means, let's get in a room and we can talk for sure. All right.
Real quick.
Hour 15. Oh, go sure. Why the hell? Why do we need to start the show? We're only an hour and 15 minutes into this thing.
Well,
thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
No, this is not anything to do with Kyle. I would like to say we should have a moment of silence. Willie Mays has just passed away.
Willie Mays. Say hey, kid. Like Willie Mays. Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, has passed away.
Damn. Seriously? Holy shit, that sucks. If you're a baseball guy, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yep.
Gee whiz, is that sports? Yes, it's a baseball thing. Wow. I bet you the number 24 is going to be on every team's a sticker on their helmet or something in the next week.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
One of the greatest all-around baseball players ever to play. He was, if you know who Ken Griffey Jr. is, he was Ken Griffey Jr. in the 50s and 60s. Before that was a thing.
Pretty sure
that.
Pretty sure when we had Ghost and Clover and put our teams together, I'm pretty sure I
guarantee he was on the list.
I'm pretty sure I got Mays. If I didn't, you did.
Yeah, he was. Oh, he was definitely chosen. One of us got Ken Griffey Jr. as our center field. The other one got Willie Mays, I'm sure. So
yeah,
sounds crazy, but man, wow. I didn't know he was. Well, he's old. I didn't. But I hadn't heard that he was sick. So I wonder if it was just kind of an old age thing.
Yeah, 93. So
they said he passed away and is sleep peacefully.
Good for him. I mean, that's if you're gonna go, that's the way that you go. Wow. Okay, that sucks. Man, one of the greatest ever to hang on. They were put on cleats, man. Seriously, one of the greatest players ever. I don't use, and Clover knows this. We talk a lot of baseball, and Kyle and I talk baseball, but I'm not one of those guys that, oh, he's one of the best ever. He's like, oh, he's pretty good, or he's good for his era. I very rarely will say he's an all-time great. Willie Mays is an all-time great. He's one of those that if you go back and say name the top 100 players ever to play baseball, he's on that list.
Probably top 20,
the top 50, or top
easily.
25.
Easily,
yeah.
I think 20 or 25, top 20 or 25. Yeah, easily.
He's that guy. You know.
Yeah.
He's up there with DiMaggio's and the Mantles. I'm not saying he's up there with the Aarons and Ruths, but he's in that discussion. I think
different player than Aaron and Ruth, though, right? Like different style of play than Aaron and
absolutely.
Ruth, too, though. You got to look at that.
You know, I think he was better than Mantle. I think he was better than DiMaggio. I think
that'd
he
be
was.
They're like trying to put Nolan Ryan in with Aaron and Ruth. It's like, it's oh great, but I mean, totally different style. You know,
I think if you would have asked probably in the late 60s, early 70s, the Mount Rushmore of baseball, Willie Mays is on the Mount Rushmore. If you would have built that in the 70s or the 60s, Willie Mays is on the Mount Rushmore. Guarantee it. Dude, it was awesome. Fantastic. All right. Wow. Wow. Willie Mays. I'll be damned. Okay. Well, we're an hour and 19 minutes into the show. We're just now getting to the topic. So if you're still sticking around, we appreciate you. Hopefully you've been entertained. It's been a pretty good conversation. It's been a fun conversation. But we're going to get into the topic and we're going to talk about lasers and lights. And do we like running lights and lasers? If we do, what do we use them for and all that? Let's just kind of go through the room real quick. I'm going to give you a 2-part question. I'm going to ghost you here. John, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on lights? We're not talking about on handguns. It's in general, lights on guns and lasers on guns. Separate question.
I like lights on guns. I like IR lasers on guns.
Okay, let's go. For this discussion, let's not go IR. Let's just go like the regular green lasers that come with some of these lights, right?
Visible laser.
So it's a double-edged sword for me. I like it as a training tool, but at the same time, I don't like it because so many people become lazy with lasers. And I've seen so many people who just trust the laser to be on target and not use their sights at all.
Well, and most people don't even zero the laser. Right. People realize they can zero lasers also, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's my issue with lasers. It's not that it's it's not that it's not a good training tool, but I prefer lights. And then if you're learning, don't become dependent on the laser.
Yep, absolutely. That's probably going to be a common theme. Kyle, what about you? Lights and lasers, fan, not a fan?
Fan of lights. I do not have, I have one experience with a laser, but I'm an infrared laser guy. That's what
I understand. Yeah. I had IR, absolutely.
But I just thought of the ultimate defense against another, like if you're in a gunfight and you're going against a guy with a laser, mount a little flip out mirror on your rifle. No. Tough crowd.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's corner. Annie Oakley style, baby.
Annie Oakley style. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Clove, lights and lasers.
I'm not the biggest fan of either, to be quite honest with you. I'm more tolerant to lights on things, far more tolerant with lights on things than lasers. Just for a lot of reasons. Lasers can get knocked off really, really quickly, much more than a lot of the red dot optics and stuff can nowadays, especially if you go cheap with them. And then also with a laser, that point of aim, point of impact shift within a matter of feet can be crazy wild. So,
yep.
Definitely, that's why I'm not nearly as big of a fan,
yep.
or not a fan at all, I would say.
Yep. Chris, what about you? Lights and lasers?
Big fan of lights, but lasers, I could care less.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, even if I get lights in that have the laser option, I'm not going to even use the laser.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm not even use it. Yeah, I've been a light guy, especially on ARs and all of that for a long time. And just in the last few years, probably I've started getting into having lights on some handguns. Not all of them, just on some specific ones that I'm probably not going to carry, but they're going to be great for home defense or truck guns because of the light and all of that. But lasers, I outside of IR, I could really care less. I'm not against them. I just don't see any point in them. I think that I think John brought up a point about maybe some people getting lazy with the laser. And Rob out there is an instructor. He talking about teaching people with different attachments is becoming an issue. I'm not against lasers. I personally am not going to use them.
So I had this. It's interesting. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. He recently works campus security for a college. So recently got actually
I
got
think if you're like a security or a
profession
cop, someone on that, law enforcement, I think you need to have a light on your
and
handgun.
I'm talking about us going down the laser road.
Gotcha.
He's got a combo. He
Mhm.
said, and this is a conversation that's happened in the last couple of weeks, that he liked the laser and he doesn't shoot from the laser. He doesn't practice. He hasn't, like you said, he hasn't even dialed it in.
Okay.
What he likes the laser for is for him deterrent.
See, I don't like that. And I'll tell you,
It's
I'll let
like,
you
ugh.
finish. Yeah.
No, I was
Yeah.
finished with that, and that was me. I'm like, ugh, I don't know that I necessarily like that.
So yeah, especially from someone that's wearing a badge, whether he's a cop, whether it's security, someone that's in a uniform wearing a badge, assuming even campus security is going to have badges or whatever, they're going to be in uniform, and the only way that laser, this is just me talking, and we can have this discussion. This is part of the discussion. The way that you're going to make that laser as a deterrent is if you are pointing that laser at that person.
Deterrent was probably the wrong word, but more for compliance, I guess.
Okay, well,
get on the ground, whatever.
I understand, but I don't know how a laser becomes a deterrent unless it's on someone's chest.
Well, again, get off the deterrent, and
you're going to be pointing that gun at someone's chest that you're not intending to shoot. That's where I have an issue with it. Go ahead.
But you're talking the difference between a civilian. How often does a law enforcement or security pull their firearm to detain?
Well, that might be one of the problems. I'm not saying that that's a problem. I'm not saying I blame cops for all bad things, but I think that you should be able to differentiate between a situation that needs a firearm to be a deterrent or not. I think the second you draw your weapon, it changes and escalates the entire situation, no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. If you're having to pull a gun to utilize your laser to get your job done, I think that you're opening a door up for something very bad happening, because if you're having to pull your gun to utilize your laser as a deterrent, someone may not understand what you're doing. They see a cop or a security guard pull a gun and in a general way pointing it towards a person. I don't like that visual, if that makes sense. I don't like that visual.
I don't like it either. But I will say
I would agree.
I will say in the military, I mean, we had the green beam dazzlers. Ghost, I think that's a little. Did you have them?
No.
Okay. We did use that as a deterrent at like checkpoints and to keep convoy security. And also great for marking targets. Also, you could light a cigarette off that thing. It was a real deal laser, like pretty crazy.
I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I mean, and I'm willing to. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm right. I have an opinion, and one of the reasons why I say that is I hear that not just from you, Clover, and your buddy, but I hear that a lot. People say, "Oh, well, I like having a laser on my gun because it might help to where if I just point that laser at them, they'll leave me alone."
Well, you brought up a good
maybe, but you're also pointing a gun at someone that you're not intending to shoot, you know?
Yeah, but you're making an assumption that they're pulling their gun just for the laser, where it may be, and I'm defending a position that I don't agree with here.
I understand that. Yeah. No,
I
do.
But if you're going to pull your thing, stop, freeze, get on the ground, whatever the case may be, and you've got it pulled anyway, like it would be an added effect on top of that, correct? You shouldn't have. You're arguing that you shouldn't pull your gun just for the laser, but if you've already pulled your firearm, if it's that situation,
if I've already pulled my firearm, I've already shot.
Yeah, but law enforcement, we know that they pull and that's a point of contention we can argue all day long. Absolutely. But law enforcement and security pull their firearms all the time that they don't use their firearm, that they don't pull the trigger all the time.
Yeah, no, I know they do, and
as a civilian, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think that there could be a nice conversation on whether we think that law enforcement should or not. I know they do. Brandishing is brandishing,
and I'm with you, Clove. I don't necessarily agree with that either, but I will say in defense, they don't have to necessarily point it at the person. It could be at the ground, like kind of maybe in front, like drawing that line, like, hey.
That's true too. They
like
can be
like a
low ready type thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's how we work that green beam dazzler. Because if you got somebody in the eyes, like through a car windshield, they were blinded, dude. Like that was a real deal laser.
Oh yeah.
No, I think that being in a low ready and all of that is great. But if we're talking about utilizing that laser isn't a deterrent if you're in the low ready. And so that's the devil's advocate argument in that. For civilians, if I'm pulling my gun, I'm past the point of trying to be a deterrent. If I've drawn my gun, I've made that decision that this is going down one way or the other. That's just me, Yeah,
but law enforcement and security's primary is to detain and arrest.
Yeah.
They're not Judge Dredd out there.
I understand that, but I also think that Rob, I text you I think that it'd be awesome if you've got 5 minutes, Rob.
He's talking enough in the chat. He should just
he texted me earlier today and said I'm going to be trolling and I love it because what he's trolling is he's making great comments. And I said, well, instead of trolling in the comments, here's the link. If you've got 5 minutes, jump in. But no, I'm not a law enforcement. I don't have any background. I'm speaking as a civilian that would like to say, he's contributing here. You are. No, you are. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Good chat.
And he's not trolling. He's bringing up legitimate, statements here.
Yeah.
And this is the conversation that's going to go on forever. This is a position that law enforcement, security, and all of that, they're put in a position sometimes that they're in a no-win situation. Sometimes they do have to draw their weapons to de-escalate something, but sometimes that escalates it by mistake. There's really no way. I don't have that experience as a law enforcement. I don't, so I can't speak on that.
Either. Yeah.
What I can tell you is it's not easy. Yeah, it's not an easy discussion to have on this. Go ahead.
Do any of you guys have experience with the tasers? Because I don't. Every cops video I see or body cam, they seem to have a laser attachment too. And I mean, if that's in your escalation of force right there, but I don't know if that's the only sight that's on that gun.
That's the only sight with tasers. There's no real sights on them. It's just the point name.
Yeah.
But Ghost,
they're wildly inaccurate regardless.
Well, Ghost brought up a point about aiming it, pulling out your gun and aiming it. I had a guy when I was working at the gun store come in. He goes, I've replaced my battery on my laser 3 times in the last 2 weeks. What's going on?
Holy hell.
And I go, what are you doing? Oh, I'm playing with the cat with my gun. Well, what are you doing? It's stupidity like that. That
Darwinism doesn't always work, let's just say.
But he's just sitting there. I was like, was it loaded? He goes, oh, yeah, it was loaded. I was just aiming the laser on the floor, but chasing the cat around with it. I'm like, really?
Yeah, you buy a laser at the Dollar Tree, bro.
It's not
literally
manufacturer error. It's user malfunction.
Just don't shoot your friends in the balls with a taser unless you just really want to have a good laugh.
I'm going to tell you right now, it does not matter where you get hit with a taser. You're going down.
It's going to hurt. You're going down.
That's first-hand experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So lights versus laser. I think that the vast majority of people will be, hey, I'm pro light and not necessarily anti-laser, but just don't use them. Don't care for them too much. So let's kind of talk more. We had a great laser talk right there. I think it's great. Let's talk lights real quick because I think that there are things about the lights. So I know Matt was out there. I'm not sure. I think it was Matt with RTT earlier had said something like, I won't carry a gun unless it has a light on that. How many in the room are like that? I mean, like, I'm not saying every gun, but like John, Kyle, Clover, Chris, what, like, as far as percentage of your guns that you carry or use for truck guns or whatever, like,
no carry for me, none. Home defense, yes, no carry. Yep. I do not carry with a flashlight.
John, what about you? Do most of your guns, whether ARs or handguns, most of them have lights, or some of them have lights, or what gets a light for you?
Anything that I'm using for defensive purposes,
including carry guns.
Including carry, I think the only thing that doesn't have a light is the shotgun.
Okay.
I just can't find one that I like to put on it. But like the handgun's got one, the PCC's got one. My carry guns, I normally carry a light when I carry, so I guess that count. Would you count that as?
I don't, and here's why, because that's a later discussion, but let's go ahead and bring it in now, as I think it ties into here. So I've always carried a Streamlight, one of the micro USB lights. Love them. Probably the best pocket carry light in the history of lights. I'm biased towards Streamlight. That's just how I feel, but it's a great light. That said, up until a few years ago, I didn't like lights on handguns. Loved them on ARs, right? But didn't like lights on handguns. That said, I tell you what I have come to the decision in my life is it's easier to have, well, I can't show it. Okay, I don't want to get my stream kicked off. It's easier for me to have like a 2311 on the nightstand with a light on it so that I can gradually pop a light here and there around corners, identify all that kind of stuff while not having to do the old FBI light trick. I think that makes for bigger mistakes. I want both of my hands on that handgun if I'm going to be clearing a room or defending my home, and having the light on that handgun in that situation is a lot better than having a handheld light. Now, what it also does is I'm able to utilize, I don't suggest it, but if I have to go one-handed to go pick somebody up or pick something up, I still have the light on that gun. Now, the downside to having the light attached to the gun is the same kind of argument we're bringing up with lasers. Is in order to get a direct beam on a target, or may not be a threat, but just whoever you're trying to identify, people say, oh, you have to be aiming that gun at that person. Well, with a light, you don't. The light, if I've got a handgun and I'm probably going to be right here with it, I can point that light at the ground and it's going to light up that room at 3 o'clock in the morning enough to identify whatever. If I'm going with an AR pistol, I can go high ready if I want to. Shine that light off the ceiling. That light's going to bounce off the ceiling and light up that room well enough. With a light, you don't have to shine that light directly into that person. Now, the great thing about the light is if you do, that light itself is a weapon. That light itself is going to temporarily, for a few seconds, kind of blind that threat to where you're able to get to another room. You're able to, hey, I'm going to shine this guy in the eye. And when he does, I want you to run, talk to your kids, run to me or whatever. It can be a deterrent. It can be a weapon in itself, especially today with these LED lights, man. These things are bright as hell. But I think that I enjoy having the light on home defense, truck guns and all that. I don't carry a light. I don't carry guns with lights. I'm not that guy. But I do. I do have them on guns that I'm going to defend my home, my truck, my family with. I've in the last few years, especially, I've gone that direction. Clove, you were going to say something? You unmuted?
I thought I'd been unmuted.
Oh, okay. Rob says, give me one. I don't know if he's talking to me or he's talking in general. Says, give me one example of a person who had a firearm, needed to personally defend themselves, but could not because they didn't have on weapon lumens. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are pros and cons of having weapon mounted lights versus handheld lights. I know, Clover, you are more of a handheld light guy historically, correct?
Yeah, in a carry sense for sure. Now I do have, like I said, on home firearms, and that's not to say that at any given time I'm going to grab one with a light, but
Sure, yeah.
For home firearms, I do have lights on some things, but for carry, like, nope.
Oh, I heard. I can't.
And let me back up, for hunting and like in the woods type thing, obviously, yeah, too, but. Yeah, when we're talking about defensive carry.
Defensive, yeah, sure.
I can't remember who told me this story, but they were on a scene somewhere. I think it was a car accident, and the officer who arrived on scene, they needed like more light, and he didn't have a pocket flashlight. He pulled out his gun and turned on his flashlight and was pointing it in the direction to light people up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I carry. I mean, a handheld flashlight, just to carry it every day, is great for a number of things. There's been a number of things where we went to. There's a bar north of Phoenix, the Buffalo Chip. We went up to the Buffalo Chip, and the parking is down the road. It's real dark, so having the flashlight just to show the path, but also cars were coming, so show them that I'm like walking on the side of the road, was just a great thing to have.
Yeah, flashlight's a must, especially as small as they are nowadays, and everything.
Yeah, you got to have a flashlight on you anytime. I mean, we're not even talking for personal defense. Just having a flashlight, you know.
Yeah,
gotta have a flashlight.
Flashlight and a pocket knife.
I was going to say, a flashlight and a knife are two essentials that every person. You know, it's so weird. You know, we were growing up. I remember when my dad got me my first pocket knife. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I was like in Cub Scouts or whatever, you know. And I got my very first pocket knife, and that was a big deal. Like when you were a kid to get your first pocket knife, like that was kind of a rite of passage. Yeah. And I don't think that happens much. I had a daughter. I didn't have a son, but I don't remember even my buddies that had sons. I don't think that the passing on of a pocket knife or the first pocket knife was a big deal anymore. I wish it was, but yeah, most kids these days don't have it. Yeah, but I'm saying the next generation, I don't think that they're as big on having pocket knives and flashlights.
Guns, pocket knives, tools. That's another thing that, the getting your kids accustomed to getting the first little tool set, or whatever. Yeah.
And I don't want to divert the conversation again here.
Oh, sure you don't.
Sure you don't. Yeah.
But I was handed down a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah,
right? That's pretty cool. But I don't know if this is rumor mill or not. I heard Swiss Army knives stopped making bladed knives now.
G-Webs or Gizzard out there would know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just word on the street, telephone game, or whatever, but that is what I've heard. As kind of like a stance against weapon stuff.
I doubt that's true.
I can't imagine the Swiss Army not making knives. That's what made them billionaires,
That's true. Maybe they make versions they can sell in some of the European countries that have banned knives at this point.
That could be it.
Could be.
Yeah.
Like California compliant handguns, right? They got the neutered version.
The British compliant knife, which
all the wussy countries. Yeah. So what was the first knife? Do you remember what it even was?
I have no idea. No, and I don't have it anymore. I'm assuming that like during moving is, I mean, there's no telling. I mean, it's gone. It was, now I will say this. I know that it was not like a family passed down knife. It was a new knife that my dad had got.
Oh, yeah.
He probably only spent $1 or $2 in it, whatever, back in 1979 or whatever, 1980. I remember he got it because we were going on a Cub Scout not a Boy Scout, but this is the Cub Scouts back in the day, a Cub Scout camping trip for a weekend.
Right.
And my dad got me the knife probably a week or so before we went, and he was teaching me how to whittle sticks and all that, so that when we went to the campsite, I'd already know how to whittle sticks. And I have no idea. For me, it seemed like it was a big knife, but it was probably a very small. It was. I do remember it was. It was. I had it till I was about 12. You know, I didn't carry it all the time, but it was a drop point knife. Wood with. I mean, it was probably the same knife that we all had. Wood grain with the brass. You know, where it folded out. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, like the basic pocket knives back in the late 70s, early 80s that everyone had, the wood and brass folding knife.
Mine was actually smaller. Mine was a 2-blade old timer. And it had, I guess it was probably like faux buckhorn or something. Handles. It was the one that was like stag or whatever, grip or whatever on it. Mm-hmm. But like you say, obviously I don't have that anymore. I've lost. It sounds weird, but I swear it's true. I've lost more knives than I've ever owned. So
100%, yeah.
Like, absolutely. And so as a kid, I absolutely lost that knife. Who knows? Yeah. I may stumble across it in the woods or under a house, or who knows one day. But
right.
I haven't yet, but it's gone somewhere.
Yeah, no.
But it actually belonged. It wasn't old either. It belonged to my grandfather. It was my grandfather's knife.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like some family heirloom. I mean, he may have had it a year or two. He may have had it 10 years. He may have had it a month. I don't know. But he did give it to me. It was his knife.
I don't know, because I haven't been keeping up with Rob's conversation out there, but there is a statement here that is fantastic, and I just want to know where it comes from, because I'm in. He said meth addicts or psycho ex-boyfriends with nods attacking people in their basements or cutting off the power. I don't know where that came from, but that's some like urban Call of Duty shit right there. Like, I want to see a meth out. Yeah, it's I want to see a meth head out there with nods on, chasing around people with IRs. Wouldn't that just be hilarious to watch? Let's just be honest.
I do not want to see that, to be honest with you.
Not with a real fire. Give them like a water gun. They wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Give them like a water gun with a laser on there. That'd be hilarious.
You're basically explaining a modern day Nazi soldier right there.
This is true. Yeah. Do you guys remember your first knives, Chris, Ginger, Kyle? Do you remember your first? Were they new? Were they family heirlooms? Do you remember what kind they were?
Mine was brand new. My aunt brought it back from the Victorinox factory, so it was a Swiss Army knife. And within the first 3 days of getting it, I dang near cut my index finger tip off, because I decided as a kid it would be cool to open both blades at once.
Why not?
Yeah. And so I cut my finger. I ran through the house, ran upstairs, and got blood all the way through the house. And then it got taken away for a little bit.
Yeah. G-Webs. I love G-Webs. He says, my first knife was a pistol bayonet that I attached to the pistol with a light and laser. Well played, sir. Well played. Kyle, do you remember your first knife?
Yeah, mine was a Swiss Army knife, and I actually remember my second too. It was one of those collector knives from Batman Begins. I got it for my birthday.
Oh, snap. Really?
I lost it. Don't worry. It even had the collective pin and all that.
Oh,
I wish I would have held on to that.
Man, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a knockoff Swiss Army knife, by the way. We got it at the Richwood Flea Market down the road here.
Oh, yeah. Flea market knives are the best.
They are. They're cool.
I remember we would go and my mom would give us, always take a friend with me. And she'd give us like $5 a piece for the day. This is like in the early 80s. You know, she's like, all right, guys, we're going to meet back here in a couple hours or an hour or whatever. And back then she just let us walk around as 5 or 6 year olds in that flea market. They didn't care. They weren't worried about us being kidnapped. And we had $5 and we could keep whatever we bought for $5. And that's back when baseball cards were like 2 cents, maybe a nickel if they were like really like Pete Rose get it for like 25 cents or something. But but you go and you could eat on that. You could get a hot dog and a Coke for like a quarter, and you had $5 to go and spend at the flea market. And I just remember bringing like bags of stuff home, and my mom was like, "What in the hell? Like, why?" I was like, you know what? I bartered, and for $5, you give me $5, and I came home with 500 different things or whatever. It was hilarious.
I remember there was a one of the flea markets here back in the day. There was a vendor, what do you want to call it, that had boxes of stuff set out in their booth, right?
Yeah, sure.
Boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes, and they would literally give you paid $5 for a Walmart sack. Yeah. And anything you could put in a Walmart sack, you could get for $5. You could fill it up.
Back in the day, you could stuff.
Oh my God! At the chewing out I got when we got back to the car, and I had like 6 big old Walmart bags, and people were sitting on top of crap and couldn't even haul it all home. And it was just junk. It's absolute like junk.
Oh yeah. That was the beautiful thing about flea markets. That's what it was. But for me, it was not what I got. It was the deals. I'm a 5-year-old like arguing with grown ass men and women about, I'm not going to pay a nickel for that. I'll give you 3 cents for that, or whatever. And my dad used to call me the Artful Dodger. My dad was convinced that if I could rent my high school parking lot to a car show on a weekend, that I would. I was always looking for deals. I always remember, I loved going to football and baseball games and all that. We always had tickets, and I remember going to the Cotton Bowl one year in like 1988 or 89. So at this point, I'm 13, 14 years old, and we had tickets to the Cotton Bowl, and a bunch of us went. And one of the guys had an extra ticket, and he's like, "Look, take my 2 tickets, and I want you to see if you can get me better tickets." This is my dad's friend, who's older gentleman. So here are my 2 tickets. I want you to turn these tickets into 50-yard line, like lower level tickets, if you can get them. And in about an hour, I had them on like the 10th row 50-yard line, and I could always figure out a way to do that. So for the flea markets, it wasn't about what I got. It's how much and how I was able to acquire all. I used to love that shit, man. We would go and man, we would buy. I can't even imagine how many baseball cards we bought, and sometimes it'd be like $1 for, 100 or 200 like baseball cards. It was just in a box. You couldn't look at them. It's just, here's this blind open, $1 will give you all of these. And we sit there and figure out which ones are good and which ones we're going to use them, put on our bike spokes to make it sound like a motorcycle and all that stuff. It was fun. Chris, do you remember your first knife?
I believe, I don't know if it would have been my first knife, but the first knife that I can
remember. Yeah.
My dad and I used to go to this big outdoor gun show every year, and it was right after Rambo came out, and I was walking past this table. It had the knife with the compass in it and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to have it, so I begged Dad to buy that one for me.
Can you imagine? Not just the actual Rambo knife, but all knockoffs. For 5 or 10 years.
Oh yeah.
I would love to know how many Rambo knives were sold in America over that 5-year span. I think everyone I knew had a Rambo knife, whether they needed it or not. They had a Rambo knife. They had to have the compass. It was the survival knife was the thing, man. It was awesome. Everyone had one.
That's such a badass first knife, dude.
If a Rambo knife is your first knife, you're living a pretty good knife life.
Yeah. First world problems for sure.
First world problems with a Rambo knife is the cherry popper,
Uh-huh. And you would immediately lose all the shit in it. Let's be honest.
Oh, I did. The first time I opened up the compass and all that, everything kind of fell out. So, but 3 days later, all I had was the knife with the compass on it, and all the fillings were gone.
Yeah, you never could get all the stuff back in it anyway. You never could get the fishing line rolled up right. Nothing.
No, because of course you're not only going to take that stuff out of the knife, you're going to unravel it and see everything. And I promise you, the person that stuffed that stuff into the handle had training beyond belief to get that stuff in there. And a 10-year-old kid is just going to roll it up in a ball, and it doesn't work. So let's just get rid of it. That's how I did it. Scott's Rambo came out when I was in high school. God. Well, Ginger wasn't even alive when Rambo came out, so.
Now Pinko's out there. Pinko's out there mentioning blowguns. That is another thing. I had my fair share of those too.
Oh, the blowguns. Yep. Was a go-to. Yeah. So you had the Rambo knives and the blowguns. You also, this is going to sound funny. Back in the day, and I don't know, maybe it was a Southern thing. So Clover probably does, but I don't know if Chris and Ginger and Kyle know. But like, you could go to a flea market. Not only did you buy them, but a lot of the time were like garage sales and all of that stuff. Like, they would be selling like lawn darts. I don't know if you guys know what lawn darts are.
Oh yeah, lawn darts.
But like, you could be like, they'd be playing lawn darts like in the front yard. Kids would be playing lawn darts during a garage sale. So the parents were like, hey, just go play the dart game over there on the grass while they're looking at furniture and stuff. There's like 6-year-old kids playing lawn darts. Like, now I don't think you can sell, like, I think they're like banned or something.
They banned the manufacturer. Yeah.
Oh, and Pinkus, yes, the Ninja Stars. Hell yeah. Man, I don't even tell you how many Ninja Stars I had and they were cheap. It's terrible.
Well,
they were Ninja
Stars. I tell the story about in it literally, it's what it was called, was the Oriental store. But but when you walk into the mall, and the mall here's been closed down forever. But when you walk in, the first store, boutique, whatever you want to call it, to the right was the Oriental store. Yeah. And they had like anything Asian or whatever. And that was where we went. Blowguns, swords,
nunchucks,
Chinese stars, nunchucks, like all the ninja stuff.
Yep.
And they had rugs.
I think every mall had one of those stores.
They had rugs, pottery, tea. Like they had any of that stuff. But it was the most awesome store ever. And usually we didn't even go to the rest of the mall when mom, needed to go to the mall or whatever. Like, we walked through the door, boom, that's where we were at. And when she got ready to go, that's where we were at.
I remember, and looking back on it, I realized why, because he probably needed to make money because that shop was going to close down. But the local baseball card shop that was right around from my house, not too far, we would ride our bikes to it. I remember one summer he started carrying and selling comic books also. Obviously, I wasn't a comic book guy, but it makes sense. He probably wanted to make some more money. But he also started carrying Ninja Stars, nunchucks. There's no way in hell that you can sell that stuff in a normal store. You can't walk into Walmart anymore and buy nunchucks. Like, I don't even think that's allowed anymore. But back in the day, man, you could buy chucks, you could throw stars. Like, you could buy fireworks like 24/7 year round. Like, you didn't have to wait just till 4th of July. It was whenever you wanted to buy. There was always fireworks, play stuff. Life is
real fireworks too.
Oh yeah.
Like, insane. We would do
Roman candle fights, which probably wasn't the smartest thing.
Oh yeah, we had fireworks fights all the time. We would build mortars and we did all kind of crazy stuff. But my uncle, he's a truck driver, and he brought, I'll never forget, and I don't know what he gave for him, but he brought home from, I want to say it was like North Carolina. I want to say, if I remember, it's been a very long time ago, but I want to say that's what it was. He brought home some bottle rockets and he brought home like a bundle of like 200 bottle rockets. This was insane, and gave us. Dude, we strapped G.I. Joes to those. All kind of stuff, and put them into orbit. And to this day, I don't know what those were, but I have never seen a bottle rocket. Like, they're in we got G.I. Joes in low Earth orbit. I'm convinced. Those were the most badass bottle rockets I've ever seen in my life.
There's going to be some pilot up there flying for Southwest and just see a little G.I. Joe going across.
Now, like nowadays you light off a bottle rocket and you shoot it up, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to find the stick is going to fall back down, and you're going to find it somewhere within an acre or 2 or 3 or something, maybe at most.
Yeah.
These, we'd never seen a single solitary stick once they lit off. Like, they were unbelievable.
I love it. Pinkus is out there. I love he's not the biggest troll. Our old friend Kevin Patrick Reichard, Kevin Patrick Comedy, if you will, aka the tack douche. He's a lot of things, but Tack Daddy was a pretty decent troll back in the day. He was a pretty decent troll in the comments.
He really was.
Rob's got some game out there. But yeah, all right. So
that's funny.
What's that?
Pinkus said I saw Destro and Flint going past my window at 15,000 feet. Sparks going out of there. That's awesome. You very well could have.
If you were flying over Tyler, Texas area, you probably were.
I'll tell you what, we tried. We never could get it to work. But you remember the F-15, the G.I. Joe, or you remember the F-14, the Tomcat, right?
The F-14 Tomcat,
the F-14 Tomcat, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how many of those bottle rockets we strapped to them and tried to fuse them where they all went off at the same time. And we tried multiple times to get that thing to fly, and we never could actually get that thing to fly with bottle rockets. Like, we never could get the sequencing right. Nowadays, we probably could.
Back in the day, so my elementary school principal lived across the street from me. So once I was in middle school and no longer under her wrath that she couldn't do shit to me anymore, we tried to terrorize her as much as we could. Obviously, she knew who it was, but whatever. One of the things that we like to do, not just with her, but a lot of different people, is we would get a whole big thing of black cats and stuff them in the old metal Folgers crystal coffee cans, like the old metal ones.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we take a filter from a cigarette and you put the filter on the end fuse and you light the filter. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes for that filter back in the day.
We tore the filter off and stuck the fuse up in the cigarette and then lit the cigarette.
There you go. However you want to do it. We would light the filter. It takes a few minutes for that filter. So you had plenty of time to like run and hide and like
on the main fuse. You got to make
on the
sure
main fuse. Yes. Yeah. And so we would we lit that. So we had a few minutes to run and get our positions and all that. We put that like right underneath like one of their windows or something. And I'm telling you, it sounded like an M60, Kyle. And that thing started going off in that metal full coffee can is, and people are like freaking the shit out. They're coming out like looking at what the hell's going on. Yeah. Oh man, that was a great times back in the day. Great times. Now, if someone were to do that to me now, I'd be so pissed. Like, those goddamn kids, But man, that was the day, man. We used to do all sorts of stuff. Fireworks, man. We had a good time. Like I said, we would have Roman candle fights. Probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world, but we know.
We did that with all the cousins. I've had many a singed eyebrow and just all kind of crazy stuff from that. 4th of July, all the grown-ups would get together. There would be a bonfire, and they would play their instruments, and obviously they drank, and there'd be barbecue and there'd be other stuff. But all the kids get away, like this is the grown-up thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly, they gave us truckload of fireworks.
And you could buy them for nothing.
And literally everybody that came to that, every family had buckets of fireworks they brought. So we had tons. And instead of doing like a fireworks show, because they didn't want us messing with them, so they could drink and play and do all their stuff for the most part. We all got out in the pasture and basically played capture the flag, but we defended our flags with the fireworks. And we were We built all kinds of crazy stuff. We took PVC pipes and metal pipes and garbage can lids, and we built armor, and we built rocket launchers, and we built all kind of crazy stuff to shoot the firework catapults that would fling the M60s or whatever.
So do you remember back in the day the slingshots that you had to have two people, and they were probably like 6 feet long, and they're water balloon launchers, but like there were these huge bands. Like one person would go that way, another person would go that way. We would launch water balloons at the end of the road, but in my head, and it's on the roof. We would just, for like Halloween, we would launch balloons like 3 or 4 houses down and just torture little kids on Halloween night.
I thought you were going to say fireworks, because we've
no. We did water balloons with the slingshots. We were terrible kids.
So imagine a Roman candle that you shoot. I mean, it's got to be 80, 100 foot, or maybe not that much. Maybe more like 60 foot. You're getting, and you're launching it across max height, probably 60 foot across 100 yards or something. You can launch that thing while it was going off.
Oh hell no!
That was awesome. Because you didn't know who you were going to hit or if you were going to get hit. But that thing, man, because it would spin, obviously, when you launch it. So the goal was to try to time it right, where every time it went off, it would shoot down.
See, if you didn't grow up in Texas, you just don't know what you were missing.
Yeah, you didn't have any fun, dude. Any fun.
Growing up in Texas, you could do whatever the hell you want. So I got to go back up because Rob says, I could hit the pool with a G.I. Joe A10 from the upstairs bathroom window, but only with the bullet hole damage, body panels in place for realism.
Heck yeah.
We were about 2 minutes away from, I shot my brother with a BB gun, but wore ski goggles for safety. He says, now these kids have paintball guns.
I've been shot by rock salt before. It ain't no fun.
I can't say that I've been shot by rock salt.
Yeah,
I've been shot by paintballs in the Marine Corps back in the day. Back in the early days of paintballs, they used to freeze those damn things. That was fun.
It sucks.
And they wouldn't let us wear any padding.
Yeah.
That was no bueno.
Now my brother did shoot me with a BB gun, and it embedded in my knee. Now we did go and
I bet you he got his ass whooped, didn't he?
They got it out. I don't think he did, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We were both farting around doing something. So
there you go.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That was basically growing up, right? So if you were involved in it, it's like, even if somebody shot you with a BB gun, it's like, what were y'all doing? It's like, we were shooting each other with a BB gun. Well,
and no one thought anything about it. Like, oh, okay. Well,
you got what you deserve then. That's what you get.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Yeah, we used to
point blank, little bastard.
There was a time, I guess it was probably, we were like 13, 14, 12, 13, 14. We were in middle school, put it that way, right? And we all had cap guns. And we all carried them around school, and we would walk down the halls, pow, 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 pow. And the teachers would come out and like, just they're like, hey, not in the halls. Like, can you imagine walking down like the school with a gun, a cap gun, but a gun today, and just having cap gun wars in school? Like, people would lose their shit. But back then it was just like, hey guys, take it outside. Like, just don't do it in the hallways. It's fine if you're outside. Have your gun wars on school. It's got to be outside. Now that people would lose their shit.
Yeah,
you go to jail for having a cap gun at school.
Yeah. We literally would go out in the woods. I've told this story before. So recess, we would go out in the woods, literally in the overgrown woods next to the school.
How the hell did we get on this conversation, by the way? I'm just trying to figure this out.
And pick poke salad for the teachers. They encouraged us to do so, and then they would buy us an ice cream the next day if we picked them like a grocery sack of poke salad out in the woods. And there could be snakes out there or anything. They didn't care. It's like, go tromps around in the woods. Poison oak, poison ivy for the kids that were allergic to it. It was insane. But they didn't care. It's like, they didn't care. And we lived. We survived.
We survived, and turned out pretty decent. It's questionable. We turned out okay. We didn't kill anybody.
Rob had a rocket launcher on his
dirt bike. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. We never had that. We never had bicycles out in our ward.
She says there were 2 movies about playing a game, running around the school with toy guns, assassinating other players. I don't know about the movies about it, but like that was a thing, man. Like we had teams. And like that whole thing was just going around school and just trying to pick off as many people as you could. And yeah, it was a thing. So one had Natasha Kinski in it, I recall. I don't know. Natasha Kinski.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is. Sounds Russian to me though. Anyways, yeah. Okay. I don't even know how the hell we got on that. We got way off our topic.
Kyle threw us off, and then I think it was Kyle that threw us off again.
Was it?
I think so.
We start with pocket knives. Is how we got on. Who brought pocket knives the first time? Was it Kyle?
Freaking Kyle.
Bitch.
Twice.
That's master trolling. He took us down rabbit holes twice. And
between Kyle and Rob out there.
Yeah. Also got my uncle got cuffed by cops in the South Jersey. Well, he's in Jersey. Of course he's gonna get cuffed.
Who did?
Know? Pincus.
Oh.
Can you imagine Pincus and Mike in New Jersey together growing up? Good Lord. I can only imagine how that went down. By the way, have you seen pictures of Mike lately?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for him. He is I told him, I sent him a text and said, you need to break out the old Bugle Boy stuff because he looks like a 20-something-year-old model again. So anyways, 2 hours and 10 minutes. I am sorry, folks, if you listened in for having a great laser light show. We had a laser light show for about 10 minutes. But we hope you had a fun time. I hope this was an educational, at least an entertaining show. I appreciate it. I'm not going to keep on going because that would just be stupid. It was fun. So Ginger will bring you in here, give you a couple of minutes to talk about GOA in case people missed it, and also with fully loaded reviews. Go for it.
Yeah, so we've got goals. GOA goals convention coming up.
We've all got goals, John. Come on.
All night tonight with this guy. Every time I try to say something, I'm just
he's finally got out of the house and saw the sunlight. He's not a bitch anymore. That's for the last few weeks.
All right.
So we have the GOA Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit goals going on in Knoxville, Tennessee, August 17th and 18th. We have great speakers being there, tons of companies, including Anderson Manufacturing, and hopefully a lot more. Vendor cutoff is going to be July 9th because I have to get everything to print by the 10th. And media cutoff is going to be late July 18th, I believe is what we decided. So if you haven't applied for media or as a vendor, go ahead and apply. Go to goals.gunowners.org. You can apply right there and you'll get an email from me and our media team. Get you all set up. So check out goals, GOA's first convention in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then for FLR, we are hoping to have the Untouchable review ready by end of week. So we'll have that all up. And the EAA Untouchable, super excited about that. Really enjoyed that, the T&E on that.
There you go. Well, those are going on, bud. Kyle? Tell people what's going on, Anderson, where they can find you guys and all that jazz.
So you can find us on social media platforms, all of them at Anderson Manufacturing, except for X, which is at Anderson Rifles. Check out the website, andersonmanufacturing.com. We got everything you need from complete rifles. You're looking to get in the building. We got all the parts. Go to the website, check it out. Use the codes that you were given during the show. So if you didn't catch those, just hit the rewind button, go back, and Ghost, as always, thanks for having me on.
Always, brother.
It's
always.
An honor, man.
I don't know about that, but I know tomorrow, don't want to get into it, but I know tomorrow's a big day. Looking forward to hearing how that goes. Looking forward to hearing how that goes. So I didn't know if you could or not, but
our new marketing director, she's already been working remote from Florida, but she's now in Kentucky. And tomorrow will be her first day in the office here. So
Whoop, whoop. And y'all are sharing an office, so that's awesome.
Yep,
it's awesome.
And it's my 36th birthday.
Juneteenth is your birthday, which really sucks, man.
Hey,
Rob says Juneteenth's big hitters. Probably not. That's great.
I like
that's unfortunate, Kyle. That's just unfortunate for you.
Got a new person starting. It's Kyle's birthday, and then also some other big holiday.
It's Juneteenth. Yeah. All right. Thanks for going on, homie.
Thanks.
Christopher, what's going on in the land of the 740?
This Thursday night we'll have Matador Arms on the show. I'm looking forward to that. And
they're gonna fight some bulls.
Yeah. And then probably be taking a little break from the show because the 2 weeks from that Thursday we'll be at GunCon.
Oh,
getting excited.
You're gonna go and have fun with Patton, aren't you? Say hi to Patton for me.
I got that email and was looking at that list, and I'm like, I think I'm like the smallest channel there, so it's gonna be pretty wild.
It's all good. You're gonna do just fine.
Chris will have fun with me. I'll be there too.
Are you saying that you're going
I doubt very seriously
the love that speaks no name?
If NRAM was any indication, I can guarantee you Chris will not have fun with you.
If he's with you, yes. John is the most boring person, the most prude person. How do I keep going? Refuses to have fun. Hey guys, let's go play glow in the dark put.
That sounded like fun.
Okay. You're 12 or stone, one or the other.
I thought it was fun. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Nobody invited me anywhere. I'm just going to stay here in my hotel room tonight. Dude, you know where we are. You're more than welcome to come here and hang out with us.
He never did either, did he?
No, he stayed in his room, pouted all night.
No, I didn't. I hung out with Kurt.
No, that was the next night.
What? No. Oh, Friday?
Yeah.
Friday, I went back to the hotel and I passed out. I was exhausted.
All right. Yeah.
And
Chris, you'll have more fun hanging out with other people than John.
Chris, I tried to get out there, bro.
Yeah.
I did try.
Find Clover. You might have some fun with Clover. I don't know.
Clover, Matt from RTT will be out there. I'm sure there'll be all kinds of people, out there.
Ginger won't hang out with us anymore.
I hang out with you guys all the time. What do you mean I wouldn't hang out with you anymore?
We're not good enough for you anymore.
He'll always, dude, Ginger's my boy.
Man, one night I didn't go hang out with you all, and next thing you know,
it was a good night. It was a good night. Everyone had fun. I think
good's an understatement. Yeah.
Everyone.
Patch is coming to all those folks too. By the way, got those in yesterday. Yep.
Wet spot mafia, baby. Anyways, all right. Let's Clover. What you got going on? Anything?
Me, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do another High Noon podcast tomorrow, maybe if the guest shows up. Project VO podcast. I think the guy's name's Jake. We're gonna talk Second Amendment.
So wear khakis.
Some Second Amendment politics stuff. I don't know.
Jake from State Farm.
Like State Farm.
Khakis, man.
No, he's not Jake from State Farm.
Okay.
So no.
I think the universal uniform for Jake's now khakis.
I've got a unless I hear from Pincus in the next I don't know, probably 24 hours. I've got a PD10 sucks video. Apparently I've got to film and get out by Friday. If not, actually I got some parts in for a rifle and I started filming the video on it a little bit today. We're gonna put up a repair video. I think should be able to get it
or something.
No, I should be able to get it through here. I should be. It's going to be I like to test the waters on what we can and can't do and exactly how we can do it if we can do it. So And I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be an example of kind of how to get those types of videos through. So we're going to see. I did some filming today. I had to do a repair on one, so I went ahead and turned the camera on and filmed it. I got to do a little B-roll and some other stuff to go with it before I edit and get it done. But that, in all honesty, that'll probably be the video drop Friday if I can manage to get it through, which I think I can.
Rob says he challenges all of us to a game of Risk next time we're all together, prepared to be conquered, only if it's at the Slippery Noodle. Only if we play at the Slippery Noodle. So, yeah. All right, 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys. If you're still here, God bless you. If you made it this far in replay, especially in podcast form, you're awesome. You deserve something. I don't have anything to give, but except for my gratitude and my thanks. If you're out there, go ahead and leave that comment. Let us know how bad this show was, or how good the show was, or whatever. If you're listening in podcast form, please rate, review, and share. It does help the algorithms. And yes, dear. What do you? Oh, never mind. I thought you were saying you had something to say. My bad. Yes. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure that you are getting to the range. Be more proficient with your firearms. Stay in tune what's going on at the local, state, and federal levels with all the 2A legislations. Make sure that your elected representatives are doing their jobs. If not, guess what? It's an election year. We can take care of that shit. Most importantly, enjoy your freedoms of being an American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll see you next week. Semper Fi.